here is the first video lesson, live trade video actually, for the site here, Clover Trading Blog. My brother and I put this together, obviously, to document our journey as we really start to focus on day trading here, while still in school. Myself in grad school and my brother in undergrad. But obviously, also we are putting it together to keep ourselves accountable, having to go back and look at our trades and watch our videos and make these videos and watch lists and write blogs on what we've experienced throughout the trading days, throughout the sessions, but also to be able to help other people that are just starting out and maybe starting with a small account like we are, and hopefully helping them build, or maybe they have things they can give us that'll help us grow, and vice versa. So that's the main couple reasons for the site. So let me just get right into the first. I caught this live trade this morning. I'm going to try and record the morning sessions, or I'm going to try and record any trade that I'm going to take so I can get it up here and then do a voiceover walkthrough of the trade and what I was thinking as I was doing it. It's just hard sometimes because I don't want to continuously record. Then it gets really long and drawn out and boring. So this was, and I don't really like to trade right in the morning. The first 15 and 20 minutes I tend to struggle. I make irrational decisions just based off of crazy volatility. So right here is Pandora, a ticker symbol P. I caught this to the right hand side over here on one of my strategy builders here on E-Trade Pro's platform. It came up downtrending, and I went back, looked at the daily, and I liked it. I liked the chart. So what I did on the first trade I made on P was poor. Really poor, actually. I got short. Let me check here. I took a short at 8.57, too early, and I took 300 shares at 8.57, and I knew right away it was a bogus first entry point. It definitely had the potential to bounce higher, and I just rushed myself into it because I didn't want to miss the downtrend that I thought was going to happen all day. So right there you see me, or no, I didn't yet actually. I will eventually. I'll put in a price line here. I'm using Thinkorswim for the charts. Put in a price level at red to green from yesterday's close. But my first trade, let's get through that real quick. I took 300 shares short at 8.57. That was right in the morning on that big first red candle. On that first pop just under VWAP, I took a short 8.57, 300, and I covered at 8.63 just for an $18 loss, because I knew obviously when we got through VWAP we were going to get some sort of pop. So I decided to wait, and or I decided to cover so that I could play this the right way. So it was a good cover. It was a bad entry, good cover, so I was able to make the trade I wanted to. So as we're popping here up through VWAP, I am using yesterday's close, so I'm using red to green as my risk level. I took a position. Sorry, I don't have the shares and the P&L and my position value. I use SureTrader on my laptop. I just put my entries in through there, so I'm going to try and record that and get it on this for the all the videos upcoming, so you can follow along with that and see exactly when I'm entering and when I'm not. So I put that price level in there at yesterday's close, and my first entry was 300 shares at 867 on the way up here. So I'm in at 867, and I'm using red to green as my risk. If we pop through that substantially, and we hold, then I'm out. But until then, I will hold for the down fade that I think we're gonna have. There was news out on this about possible deals, or I forgot exactly what it was. But I was fairly confident. First off, it was a good risk reward play, and I was fairly confident that if we did not break this green or red to green, if we didn't make this red to green move, then I had a good solid fade in my hands. So right here, we're testing that level, and I'm pretty sure we pop through a little bit by a couple cents, a cent or two, and that's why I don't use hard stops. I don't use stop limits. I don't put them in there, and then just hopefully I don't get stopped out because of situations just like this. If you had a stop order set at just above that risk level there, then you're stopped out, and if it just pops up through and shoots right back down, you're screwed. So that's why I don't like to use those. I'm all mental stops, and especially if you're in a position and you have to go somewhere, definitely I don't use stops and put them in. I just don't feel comfortable with it. Leaving the computer, I just get right out of the position, or don't take the trade if I know I have somewhere to go or something to do. So my first entry was 300 shares at 867, and I added 200 at 872 as we poked through, and we couldn't hold that level, so I added at 872. A little late of an add. I could have added up here, 874, 875 area, but that was right at that red to green level, so I hesitated a little bit. Just wanted to make sure we didn't pop through, and I could have added more size. I started the site with a $1,500 shirt trader account, so that's where I am right now, right around that $1,500 level in the account. And so 6-to-1 leverage they give you, 6-to-1 buying power. So I could have took a bigger position, but I didn't want to, especially with just the $1,500 account size. I want to be able to build it gradually, and I took that $18 loss earlier, so I thought it was safe just to add 200 shares here at 872 as we're looking to curl back down. We get rejected. We rejected that risk level I had, so I took the 200 more at 872 for a total of 500 shares at average price of 869. So right now, once we rejected that, I'm waiting. I think we're fairly good. We're okay right now. We're sitting good. We rejected that level, and I am ready to hold and hope for a bigger fade here as the day goes on. So I'm gonna fast forward. This is when we start to get a little crack, and once we see a substantial crack, I know we should be in for a bigger fade, especially if we set a lower high. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here a little bit. Okay, so as this is sped up here, remember this is not regular time, so as you can see, but it's a lot more difficult. This trade, it wasn't really difficult to hold through because we rejected my risk level fairly to a T, so it was fairly easy holding here, especially because we didn't really consolidate across that risk level. We just hit it, shot right back down. Now, right now, what I am looking for is either a bounce off VWAP and we retest that red to green level, or bounce off VWAP, set a lower high, continue down, or we just shoot right through VWAP, which I think we did. So this is where, once we shoot down through VWAP, now I'm fairly confident that we are going to test. Right here, I'm just drawing a trend line. Up top is the 5-minute chart. Down below is 2-minute chart. I think we hold this trend line for a few minutes in real time, but we crack through fairly quick here on this video. What I'm thinking, once we get through this trend line here, now that we're under VWAP, through the trend line, and everything is pointing towards low of day test, do I cover my 500 shares just below low of day, anticipating a bounce, or do I anticipate a mini bounce and then a crack of the low of day? Right there, we got a little pop, but we don't test that level again. We do set that lower high, and that makes me even more confident once we crack this trend line here. This Pandora ended up hitting a low of day at 814. Once we get to my cover, you'll realize I missed a good chunk of the move, but in real time, small account, I wanted to take the $75 winner, especially knowing I lost my first trade on this, and this part of the trade actually worked out to a T for me, or worked out how I thought it was going to. My plan, set my plan in, had my risk level, bounced right off where I thought it was going to bounce off of, and came down for a solid short for me. So right here, I'm not worried. If we end up breaking through that red to green level, then I'm out. I'm out of the trade, no questions asked. So we do eventually here break down through this trend line, and once we do, it starts to move downward pretty quickly, and I'll let it play out here for a second. This was really the only stock I was really interested in today. The other play was MOSY, which as of now is breaking highs and up into the 1819. So if there's no short sale restriction tomorrow, then that'll be a play I'll be looking at. That's MOSY. So right here we're testing that trend line, testing VWAP, and we get the crack right on through. So like I said, now it's a matter of where am I going to cover? Am I going to cover just above low of day, anticipating a bounce? Maybe we go back and test that risk level I have. With the small account, it's tough, and I end up covering, I think, 2 cents above. Let me look. Yeah, I covered all 500 at 854 for exactly a $75 gain. And at the time, it was a good cover, but as I'm covering, I know I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, we're going to bounce off this low of day here right around 152, 153, 154 area. Or 852, 853 area. And that's exactly what we did. I covered because I wanted to lock in my gains, because of just having the small account, and I locked in the $75. We bounced a few cents. We bounced. I got it on my laptop here. I'm just looking at it as I'm watching this live feed here as we continue to crack here. And then we get this crack here. And when we get this is where I cover. I cover down at 854. We're at 856 right now, 857. And this is why also I kind of screwed myself in the morning, because if I don't take that loss, I'm more inclined. I know myself psychologically while trading. If I didn't take that loss in the morning and I was already down 20 plus the whatever for commissions, I would have held through this down here. So when we bounce, so with this cover here, obviously, hindsight, looking back at the chart, we're down at 814 now, low a day. We hit that about just before 3 o'clock. This is not a great cover, obviously, and I should have held through this little mini bounce. It won't be on this video, but we get a mini bounce, and then we crack lower to low a day. But all in all, it was a solid trade. I followed my plan, had my set risk level, and I covered for a $75. And stay updated here. We'll have watch lists every night. Haven't been able to get them out the past 2 nights. That's my fault. I've been busy, but we will have them every night. I will try and get these videos recorded too during the day, and blogs as well on all my trades. So be sure to check out the site, read the blogs, and thank you for joining our journey.